I didn't know that we just wouldn't care anymore. I thought it's weird sometimes, as much news as I read and I watch, that sometimes there's a thing that you think, just in your head. Maybe it's because of what matters to you. You're like, oh, this is going to be huge. You'll see a thing, whatever it is, and you'll be like, this is the thing that's going to wake people up or freak people out, or no one's going to be able to stop talking about it, right? Different for all of us. But then, I don't know if this is a universal experience, but I think it is. Eventually, you get disappointed. You realize, like, oh, wow, this isn't as big of a story as it should be. People don't care as much as they should. Like, everyone's moved on, even though the thing isn't resolved. That's wild. And I didn't know that we would just stop caring about the drones that are flying over Jersey. Like, that seems like a big deal, and we just sort of let it go. Right? They still up there. Like, I guess they don't need batteries, because they are still, it's wild. There are drones that were flying over Jersey, and they're loud. They're very high up, but they are so loud that people compare them to helicopters. And they've been flying over Jersey for a while now. And, you know, we all kind of thought, okay, they'll tell us what that is eventually. Someone will know. Someone has to know. Because at first people thought it was kids. And then when they said that the drones were like 6 feet wide, they were like, maybe they're rich kids. Maybe it's like... And then people... And then people started coming up with theories, because it was so loud, it was so disruptive, it's over like residential areas, it was so random and everything, that people asked the government. The government came out and they were like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The government has never said don't worry about it. Y'all, the government said, don't worry about it in American history. The government, I would honestly tell you to watch at least like one White House press conference, one like hour of C-SPAN. The most asinine, insane, minute questions get asked of the press secretary. And I'm not saying they always have a legitimate answer, but they always at least try to answer the thing in some capacity, no matter how dumb it is. They never say, don't worry about it. That's never been the tact that the U.S. government has taken. Don't worry about it. We shot a balloon immediately. Remember that balloon that we couldn't tell because none of the pictures looked clear enough if it was a child's balloon or if it was actually a spy balloon? But we shot it, I think, with a missile and said, that was a spy. That looked like China. We've still never fully confirmed that, by the way. No one has come out. China hasn't been like, we did send that balloon. That's our bad. We were feeling festive. We were playing. It's never happened. That is crazy. Don't worry about it. There are brown people just alive in other places and the government's worried about it. Like that, don't worry about it. That's crazy. So then people started to come up with their own theories, you know? People started to be like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a foreign entity. I think it's a foreign entity doing reconnaissance. They're spying on us. It could be China, could be anybody. They're using these drones to spy on us. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe China sent a drone as loud as a helicopter with lights on it to spy on Tony's house. Like maybe there is a foreign government that has the money and the resources to send so many. It's like a bunch of them, so many drones over that can just stay up in the air forever and can evade when people try to like shoot them down and everything. Maybe a government has all the money and technology to do that, but they don't have Google Earth. Maybe. And some people think that's very dumb. Some people think, oh, what an idiot. Who would think that? But you know what it's not dumber than? Don't worry about it. That's the dumbest thing a person could say. I want to make sure we all understand that. Don't worry about it. Y'all, I am so scared the government is out of money. Don't worry about it. It's the most broke parent thing to say. Yo, don't worry about it. When I was a kid, my dad drove, I think it was a 92 Corsica. And if you don't know what a Corsica is, you're doing great. Don't worry about it. But he drove this 92 Corsica, and the Corsica had a hole in the back on the floor. There was a hole. And one day I just went ahead and said something. I was like, "Hey, Dad, I know that you drive and I'm back here, so you up there a lot and I'm back here a lot. So you probably didn't know what was." I'm just letting you know what's going on back here because you always up there and I'm always back here. But there is a me-size hole in the floor of the car. So just in case you ever pick me up and then you don't see me and you're like, I swear I just picked him up. Where is he? I probably went through the hole that's in the back of the car because it's a hole. I see the road and we are going fast. Like there's a lot. I thought we were going fast when I looked out the window. When you look through the hole, we're going light speed. Okay? So what are we gonna do about the me-size hole in the back? And he was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, that's because we don't have resources. Okay. I had a babysitter one time that was making me some dinner, and I don't know. I'm assuming that the babysitter could only cook what we had in the pantry, and I don't know what the ingredients were. But then when I was served the dish, you ever had something where you're like, should this be on a plate or in a bowl? Because it has enough girth to stand on its own. But it's soupy enough to need some collection, to need some guidance as a dish on where to be, And so I asked my babysitter, I was like, what is this? And she was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, okay. This is a broke meal. That's what's been cooked for me right now, is something that only happens when you have ingredients that cost 23 cents and you put them all together to make a full $2.25 meal. The only thing that you did to cook it was add heat, but you didn't cook. It's all hot. Broke ingredients together on a plate that should be a bowl. Because there's a lot of water running off the side. But don't worry about it, all right? Okay. I remember one time, my shoulder was popping a lot. It was like just and like I was like kind of a gangly kid to begin with. So like I don't know what I did, but it was just popping all the time. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, my shoulder is. Can you hear it? It's popping a lot. It's like popcorn. It's like it's going a lot. Like, does this ever happen to you?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Should we go to like a doctor or something? Because like I just want to know, is it bad? It doesn't hurt, but it is popping a lot. It's moving. It doesn't want to be my shoulder anymore. Like it's moving all up in there while being kind of still, but like it's not pop. It doesn't hurt, but it's a lot of movement." And my dad was like, "Don't worry about it." And to this day, my shoulder pops quite a bit. So when the government tells you don't worry about it, it makes you worry about that specific thing. There are some people that think it's aliens. They think that is aliens that are trying to make contact and bolder than ever letting us know that they're here, that they're visiting. And okay. I don't think it's aliens because I just don't know if aliens I'm really not being disparaging when I say this. I'm just being honest. If you cross dimensions, I don't know if Jersey would be the first stop. And that's... And I know people from Jersey, and they will tell you if I cross dimensions, I'm probably hitting up, Cairo. I mean, I'm hitting up someplace that's a bit more exotic, But mostly I just hope it's not aliens. I hope that it's not aliens because we as humans, this isn't the time to visit us. Like this is, do you know what I mean? Like we're not putting our best foot forward as humanity to get visitors right now. Do you know what I mean? Like aliens coming to see us now would be the equivalent of me coming to see you at 4 a.m. It's like you're just not at your best. You like kind of have morning breath, but kind of not. Like it's bad. No, I don't think aliens would. If aliens are gonna come, they should have done it either 30 years ago or 100 years from now. I think that humanity is not. We're not good for visiting right now. Yeah, you know I mean, like it mainly because we're the only species. Every other species of everything on the planet, every other species of animal is doing their best to evolve. They're trying to go in the direction that forwards the species that, do you know what I mean? That they will still be around, hopefully. In spite of us, by the way. They're doing everything that they can to still be. Frogs! Frogs have the sense. There will be a frog off by itself doing something weird that the other frogs are like, don't go over there. Don't, like, that's not gonna help. That's not helpful at all. And the frog will be doing something like jumping upside down or whatever, like just bouncing upside down over and over again. And the other frogs are like, don't mess with that. Because they know it doesn't help. They don't look at that frog and go, he just asking questions. Yeah, I mean, like he a free thinker. That's what that is. That's why he jumping upside down. Why y'all all jumping right side up like some sheep frogs? Why don't you start bouncing upside down for no reason? See if that doesn't do something to your mind. No, they're like that's not gonna be helpful. And let's all just kind of get that out of the gene pool as best as possible. No, we're not serious at all. It's painful. genuine. And I'm not just talking about like Americans, by the way. Like we're so self-referential sometimes that it's like any critique of humanity sometimes sounds like I'm just critiquing the. I'm talking about people, all of us, planet Earth, all of us. We're not doing the things that would take to make a better world for us. You know, everywhere you go, it's happening. I don't know if you was seen it. It was in Peru. In Peru, there was a drug bust. There was a drug bust where the national police raided this drug house, and who knows if it was like a crack house or a drug warehouse or a kingpin's lair or whatever, but it's where the drugs were. And the head top cop that's leading the charge, leading the raid, led the raid dressed as the Grinch. That's unfair to everybody in this situation, all right? That's not right. Imagine, you in there. You deal drugs, you cook drugs, whatever, but you putting the drugs in a little baggie. And then you hear a boom, boom. Somebody has knocked down your door. And you look up. And it's the Grinch. And you think to yourself, actually, you know what? Actually, I do have a sinus infection. No, I do have a sinus infection. I have a sinus infection, and I've been blowing my nose all day, and I've been like taking the Mucinex and everything, but like I have a sinus infection, and then, you know, my nose has been a little runny too, and then when it's runny, you don't want to gross out your coworkers and everything, and so you do a little, and I must have what we making, because that's the only way that it makes sense that the Grinch and the police are here together at the same time. I must have accidentally did what we doing in here to be seeing the Grinch and the police at the same time. Because he didn't just run up in there as the Grinch. This dude, he had the battering ram. And then he goes in. After they break down the door, he goes in and then dropped the battering ram too. Unarmed, just came in character like the great. This man came in high knees, just. This man came in high kneeing like the Grinch. That's unfair to the police officers doing the raid, because imagine you about to raid this house, right? And you don't know what could be in there. If they got drugs in there, they might got money in there. And if they have money in there, then they probably got some weapons in there to protect that money, protect those drugs from other gang members or just from the police, right? So you are about to risk your life going in. You fit it up. You have the AR-15 and everything. You getting ready to go. But then ahead of you, your leader is going in dressed like the Grinch. And then he battered the door down and run in. You got to run after him and make sure not to accidentally shoot him while he over here high kneeing in front of everybody, moving all crazy. Because they did everything like you would normally see in a raid, like get on the ground, everything. But then the Grinch. Sometimes people try to get in character, and I don't think they understand the character, because I need to listen to it again, admittedly, but I swear he was making noises that the Grinch doesn't make. So then they were like, get on the ground, and then he was like, it's like, that's not. That's not in there though. That's not in the movie. That's not in the book. What is that? That's not, you're not even speaking Spanish or anything. Just it's like, in what world? Because you can tell, even as they getting arrested, they're like, but is he with y'all? Like, no, I'm getting on the ground. I'm asking though. Like, he's just moving all weird in here. Like, what is that? I'm getting on the ground. I'm just saying. You know, you see a country like Peru. I don't know the drug laws. I don't know the sentences that crimes like that carry, but I can tell you honestly right now that they subjected those people to cruel and unusual punishment because they caught them, right? And then I think the three main ones, they made them take their mug shot with the Grinch. And it's like, what other reason could there be other than to ruin a person's life? To completely diminish all street credibility than to make them take a mug shot with the grit. They over here, and I'm sure they didn't answer any questions, because if you can Google this, look at the picture later. You see them in the picture being like, like, why he over here? Like the police never take a picture with us. It's three of them lined up holding. And then the Grinch over here taking pose. Looking all proud. Because it seems very dangerous to like go in there, batter and ram, and run up in there as the Grinch, but maybe it's not. Maybe he knew that if you run up in there as the Grinch, people so confused that they don't fire right away. They literally like. You see the Grinch, right? No, we're not a serious people. Not at all. No. It's okay. I've been very excited to come back to Portland because I came here in February for some shows, and normally when you do comedy, you go places like once a year, because usually when you go somewhere, the place you went to is like, that's enough. We get it. We get what you do. Give us some time. But I was able to come back, so soon, and I love being here. I love doing shows here and everything. I love coming to Portland because y'all don't wait. You hit people with Portland as soon as they land. Like, it's like. I landed in Portland, and my Uber driver to the hotel told me everything. It's the whole backstory. It was a lot. Okay, so off top, right? So he basically was in a relationship, then married, and is now divorced from apparently the devil. And so then. So him and Satan, they still share a child, a cat, and a timeshare. And sharing all these three things with Lucifer has really made it difficult. It's made his life very hard. And I was listening to all of the woes of each thing, like the child, the cat, the timeshare, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm being honest, you only really gotta love like two of those. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the timeshare. The whole point of a timeshare is that sometimes you're there and sometimes you're not. So like, just be there when the devil's not there, and then let the devil have it sometimes, because that was always what was gonna happen. The cat. Look. I know you love the cat, and the cat loves you, and Satan's in the way. But I promise you, if you get a cat that look like that cat, it'll be like having that cat. I can almost guarantee. I'm not saying every cat is the same. I'm just saying that a lot of cats, when he described the cat to me, he was like, oh, she likes to cuddle sometimes, and she sleeps most of the day. And I was like, that's cat. If you can get one that look just like her, you'll feel like she there. You don't even have to clone her. That is a cat up and down. That's everything you just described is everything I've ever known a cat to do. So, a little standoffish sometimes, likes to sleep a lot, climbs a little bit. Yep, you have a cat, sir. No need to share custody on this one. Just get an extra cat, and then that way, if you have two cats, actually, you know what y'all need to do? Y'all need to reverse parent trap this thing. You get a cat that look exactly like that cat, and you put them in a room together, and then you just shake the door a little bit, and then when you open the door, you each just grab a cat, and I guarantee you, it'll be like having that cat, right? And then it's like a Schrodinger's cat, because you won't know if the cat is the cat or if the cat is your cat. And you can just enjoy life with your cat that's yours in your head, or not. Who knows? No one cares. The cat won't care. I guarantee you, the cat does not care. This whole custody battle over the cat, sometimes it's at your place, sometimes it's at hell with Satan. That whole thing is nothing to the cat. The cat is like, I'm a nap regardless, right? The child, yes, that is rough, to be fair. That is very rough. You share a child with someone that you can't stand, and if anything, I think that y'all should probably really figure out your differences, because you seem to have so much anger, and from the story that you're telling me, the devil also has a lot of burning fire, anger towards you, and I don't know. I mean, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. If you really didn't care, you would know that you've fully fallen out of love with this person, but because you still have so much passion involved, you should really check in on that, because that's something that you got to be careful, because what if in all that passion maybe y'all rekindle a little bit because you care so much, and then what if you accidentally just in a fit of passion y'all make another kid? That would be like the cat thing but worse, because the cat thing is a solution. Two kids with someone that you hate is a big problem. That's double the problem, right? And so then I guess he wasn't really trying to hear what I was saying, but I only said any of that stuff because I was like, if you tell me your whole life, I thought that you would want some notes on what was going on. I didn't think that you would tell me your whole life and then just be expecting me to. You might as well talk to yourself when you're in the car alone. If you don't expect me to respond to any of it, so then I just laid it all out for him the way that I saw it. Go ahead and let the devil share your timeshare and everything. Go ahead and get another cat. Make sure you figure out the problem so that you can raise this child in a healthy environment. And I don't know if I rubbed him the wrong way or something, but he was like, hey, we've been here. You can get out at any point. And to be fair, we had been at my destination for 15 minutes. I was just sort of in the car chopping it up with him. Because honestly, we got to my hotel during the timeshare portion. So like the cat and the kid was just, I was trying to get my thoughts out real quick, and he was like, yeah, but I do, this is my job, and I'm trying to leave, right? And I was like, all right, but I just thought that maybe it would be helpful, I thought it would help, to let you know. And like, hey, you a good person and everything. You clearly an open person. You told me everything, and you don't know me at all, and you don't know who I'll tell. And so the idea that you're so trusting is like both a pro and a con of being in relationships, because it's like you're trusting enough to like pour out your heart to a total stranger, but also sometimes that trust can either be betrayed or misused, which is what it sounds like the devil did to you according to your story and everything. And he was like, I can get your suitcase for you if you need.
All right, so I want you guys to get loud and proud for your headliner, Josh Johnson!
Sometimes you hear things that stick with you forever, right? Like one of the things that I heard in school was one Newton's laws. It's an equal but opposite reaction, right? And it's like a law of physics, but it's also a law of people to a certain degree. Except we don't agree on what equal is. Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody does you dirty and then you want revenge, whenever you feel satisfied, your friends, your family might look at you like you crazy. Like you like, oh, you didn't have to do all that, right? You know what I mean? Your friends and family might even tell you, hey, stop, you got them. You got him. I swear you got him, right? And you're like, no, it's not enough. Like, because you locked in, right? You locked into revenge. Maybe, look, also because of how the world works and because of how we're all entering and exiting each other's lives, sometimes you make somebody pay for the sins of other people. Sometimes they did you dirty, but they didn't do all of it. That's not their whole fault. Like you clearly let out some demons on somebody else. You especially know you're doing it if you accidentally call them the wrong name. You know what I mean? Like it's your last day at work, you quitting. You quitting this job and they ain't done you dirty too many times and you're sick of it, right? And then at the last second when you cursing your boss out and you telling him where he can shove it and you can tell him how he treated you and how he no longer has any power over you and you can tell him to go right to hell and then you accidentally say, Dad. And then both y'all have to sit with that for a second, like. Now the exit interview was awkward, right? Because you were on a roll. You had that whole speech prepared. That dad thing came out of nowhere, right? It was okay. There was this one time when I was living in Chicago that I was near Wrigleyville. And Wrigleyville, if you don't know, that's where the Cubs play. And it's like the ratchet bar bro-y type part of Chicago, right? So there's a lot of fights for no reason. There's a lot of like catcalling. There's just so much chaos happening, and it's all stuff that is like not. It doesn't faze you as much when you're like in your early 20s, right? You're just like, oh, I'm out where the party is. And I think if you go back there at like 30, you'll be like, ooh. Everyone here should call their mom. Everybody here. But while I was out there, there was this guy that was walking and he was drunk. He had that like. I've never seen anybody walk like this. Like he really was walking like his feet couldn't find the ground, and it's always gonna be there. It's always every time. But he was like, And I couldn't believe he wasn't falling. He was staying upright and everything. And this guy was passing. And this guy was passing with his girlfriend. And the drunk guy, as they pass him, he clocks the girlfriend. And he just casually, like, spins on a heel and slaps her ass, right? Yeah, so she notices. She very much notices, and it's crazy. Almost all this could have been prevented because he's so off his balance that he almost missed, right? He almost had a very different night. And so basically he slaps her ass, and then she turns around, and then her boyfriend turns around. Now he has not withdrawn his hand fast enough for the boyfriend to not know what just happened, right? So then he turns around, and this guy is like, the drunk guy is bigger than the guy whose girlfriend just got her ass slapped. So even though that dude goes like toe to toe with him in the next moment, I was still worried about the little guy because the little guy was little, right? And even in his drunken state, he's still like aware enough to know he was big enough to be an asshole, right? Because instead of apologizing or anything like that, he's like, "What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do?" Right? And he didn't say it like that. He was like, "What's he gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? Huh? Ain't nobody. What you gonna do, little man?" And little dude wasn't little for long. Because he popped that dude square in the mouth. And then big dude finally found the ground, right? And I had never seen this before in real life, but little dude didn't just fight him. He started doing actual wrestling moves on the street, right? This man, girlfriend been stepped out of the way, and this man goes... This man went this dude was going off, right? And it got to the point where even as a bystander, I was like, I think you got him. I think you got him. Because the big dude is not getting up at a certain point. He tried to get up the first time, and him trying to get up was hilarious because, okay, so let me see if I can do it. So he over here like this, right? So he on the ground. And then he tries to like, because he's so drunk, he doesn't know he on the ground, so he tries to walk up. This man tried to walk up while he was getting hit. He was getting hit in his face and he was like, what is stopping me? It's crazy. What's happening? And then he really tries to like walk up, and then he finds the ground with his hand, and then he goes, "You gonna stop hitting me in my damn face?" And then when he said that, the dude uppercut him and he went flat back down, right? And then the beating did turn a little bit too much into dancing, right? Like then the beating, because then he started to do stuff that was not even wrestling moves anymore. He was just like, pow. To the point where even his girl was like, "Hey, you got him." But you could tell, you could see it on his face that something deeper was bothering him than just this moment, right? Because if you're not, and I'm speaking on the behalf of men who are not big, right? If you are not a big man, you've probably been punked a couple times in your life, right? Or at least someone tried to punk you because they didn't know they shouldn't try you, right? And so then that stuff starts to well up, and then out of nowhere, you finally have a righteous opportunity to exercise all of that anger, so then you let loose. And when you don't stop, people are like, damn. And I said that because that's the best way I can illustrate what happened between Kendrick and Drake. Because Drake makes his little like club beats and he does his little, and he's a good rapper, don't get me wrong, he's a good rapper, but he makes his little like get drunk to this type songs, dance and everything. And then he was calling out Whitney, Kendrick's wife, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to attack rappers by their wife. If you look through his catalog, he does it every time. And then Kendrick said, okay. I promise you, nothing but sweet chin music. I'm ready. All right? Because I think in order to understand, I really don't think people get it. In order to understand how important and powerful that Pop Out concert was, you have to understand Nipsey Hussle. Okay? Nipsey Hussle was a rapper that a lot of people, at least as many people as I think should know, don't know. But what is one of the most important things about Nipsey Hussle, and what he would probably want you to know about him and remember about him, besides the fact that he was a phenomenal artist, is that he spent his time, his money, his attention, and all of his intention in improving the lives of the people that grew up around him, improving his community. Okay? This dude would pay for shoes for kids in elementary school that didn't have them. He would get repaved basketball courts that were in disarray, right? He would pay and help raise funds for funerals of victims and their families of gun violence, right? And this is all in his neighborhood. So the same way that people come up, he tried to bring everybody with him. That was his mission. He made it his mission because, yes, he was a great artist and he was getting on and everything, but you just getting out is not enough, right? Sometimes people make it out and then people don't, how do I put this? It's not enough if you just make it out. You want to bring people with you. Imagine you're in a burning building and so is your whole family. What credit is it to you? What does it really say about you if just you make it out? It means you ran out. And you left everybody else. And Nipsey was like, I will die in a burning building if it means I get as many people out as possible, right? You know? Because it's very easy. It's one of the easiest things to do because all of your experience is relative to you, right? So you actually, as much as we may look down on it, you can't always fault someone who forgets where they came from, especially if you came from a bad place. Sometimes you try to forget where you came from, you know? I used to think about that. I was like, damn, if I get rich enough, ooh, I won't be able to find this place on Google Maps. You know? But I mean it. It's like, that's an amazing thing. And the other amazing thing, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but Nipsey did so much good. He did so many impactful things. He started so many programs and he taught how to give back and he taught people while he was still alive. It's like, I want to instruct Black Americans on how to build franchises for themselves, right? So that when we make the money, we'll know what to do with the money, right? And he did all this with what I would consider very little money. Because yes, he was a big artist, and yes, he was a millionaire. But when he passed, when he was murdered, his net worth was about $8 million. And I think that people don't recognize how low that is in the grand scheme of how rich some of these artists are. We have artists that are billionaires, right? We have artists that are on track to be billionaires, and they don't do what he did with so much, with literally a fraction of what they had, right? And so I think it's important, in order to understand that Pop Out concert, it's important to understand Nipsey and what he stood for and what he was trying to do. It's also important to at least understand the image and the legacy of Kobe. because Kobe was also this integral part of LA, integral part of sport, right? And no matter what you think about the man himself, what he did in basketball, the passion that he had, his obsession with his passion is exactly what he wanted to impart on people for whatever it is that they do. Whatever it is you do. It doesn't have to be entertainment, it doesn't have to be a sport. It could just be the passion you have for being a father, right? If your obsession is being the best at whatever your passion is, you will make an impact, right? It's why to this day, and when I was little, if I have a ball of paper and a trash can is far enough away, Kobe. And if I make it, I lose my mind. You know? And so it's also important, no matter what you think of the man himself, Kendrick is someone that both of these individuals showed love to. And he's someone that has an obsession for his passion, which is music. And he's also someone that through his music, and at least in the intention of how he speaks in every interview and in everything that I've read about him, wants to give the same way that Nipsey gave, right? And sort of be a beacon for those same principles. So then we have something like the Pop Out concert, which is on Juneteenth, which is a liberation day for black people, right? And then they all come together. And when I say they, I mean every section, every known and probably unknown section of LA's gang members were in one place at the same time. That's crazy. They were all there. And everyone made it about the beef, and he played the diss tracks. Of course they do. But it was bigger than that. There was a 4-hour concert with artists from all over LA, all over West Coast, putting on, making their amazing music shown to the world. And there was even a little detail, like, I haven't verified this thing, but I heard about it, and I know of someone that, at least I think it happened to, where the concert tickets sold so fast that I guess they were checking zip codes. And if you didn't live in or around LA or the West Coast, they were refunding people so that people in LA could go to the concert, right? You know? Because the thing that Kendrick gives, at least to me, the thing that Nipsey gave, at least to me, and the thing that Kobe gives to a certain degree is an appreciation and a strengthening of community. Community is very important. And just because you're not a member of a particular community doesn't mean you can't help, doesn't mean you can't feel a part of it. But if you're in a community, it's important to give back. I think that's the thing I'm trying to establish, right? Is that if you're a part of a community, it's important to give back, right? Which is why, outside of any colorism, outside of any part of the beef, the thing that bothered people, and the thing that I think gets missed, because people want to be fans in whole of a person and their work, and it's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't actually know the person, so maybe they made a good thing, and maybe you like it, and that can be enough, right? So this isn't to discredit the entirety of someone making work and then also having to back up that work with being an angel. But I think what bothers people is that community is sometimes equal to culture. So if you're not a member of a community and you take from the community, let's say you're a business that moves in and all you do is sit there and let the people spend money, and then you send that money away from the people who spent the money, that you put that. What place do you have here? We're trying to build something, and we're trying to build up. And you're just taking, right? And I understand business is business, but you're just taking. And I think that's what bothers a lot of artists about Drake. It's not that he's light skinned, whatever. It's literally, I promise you, it's the fact that you're not actually trying to be or in the community, but you take, and what do you give? You're a billionaire unto yourself. Who else did you get out the house?
Preach. Because
Nipsey did so much, and he did it, and he left with a net worth of $8 million. How many hundreds of millions? How many hundreds of millions does Drake have? And I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. I'm just saying that when we look at who's doing what and when they're doing it, and, you got a lot left. So when you have a concert like that, right? When you have a concert that's a day of liberation and you've grabbed all of these different sections out of LA, like you gotta understand what it is for some of these people to be in the same room. By any other metric of any other time, they would be in the streets killing each other. And now they're all inside in one place right now, right? So I think that's what got so many people so emotional about that moment when they were all on stage together dancing together, dancing the way, and I understand that there are lots of black people who don't have the take that I have about it, that think that any mention or any semblance of gang culture shouldn't be equated to any part of blackness, and I understand that, but I'm saying we are where we are, right? Those are black people, and yes, they've been in situations and they've been in conditions where they are gang members, but if you have a day like the Pop-Out concert, and you have another day like the Pop-Out concert, you have another day like the Pop-Out concert, all of a sudden, all this stuff, it just disintegrates. Do you know what I mean? It's all about a future, right? You had more gang members than we do not know how many gang members were on that stage. But they were all dancing together. And sure, it was to call Drake a pedophile. I understand that. I understand. But they had to dance to something, right? And so it was actually fascinating to watch because there were clearly a lot of people on that stage that did not want to be on the camera. They didn't want to, you know what I mean? They didn't want to be on the Amazon. Because even if I think one of the reasons people are having trouble finding the words to describe what an impactful and beautiful moment it was is because to tell the whole of it is not only hard to do, it does feel a little like snitching. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, he was there and he was there and he was there. Now all of a sudden the LAPD is like, tell me more. You know? And so maybe for the good of unity, the good of the community, maybe even the good of the culture, maybe Drake should try one more time. Maybe he should.
When I